ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I'm Sunny Pancholi, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulae for many. And this is what we aim at with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such personage on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Suman Mitra. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Mitra.
Thank you. Thank you, Sani. Thanks. Look forward for the session.
Mr. Mitra is an expert in the human resource field, seasoned for over 27 years. He has been giving invaluable contribution to the field, enriching aspects like people management, coaching, employee management and development, and a lot more. At present, he is working for Saint-Gobain India Pvt Limited and is heading its glass businesses, human resource and administration. So, Mr. Mitra, could you briefly let our viewers know your career timeline, beginning with your educational pursuits?
Sure, Sani. I think, so I'm born and brought up in Calcutta. So my education was in Calcutta itself. And after completing my bachelor in science, then I pursued MBA from Vavan's College of Communication and Management. And after that, I joined a Calcutta-based company, Tractors India Limited, formerly, and it was known as TIL Limited. And started the journey from the factories. And once you are in factory, I think I would say that all HR professionals should start their career from factory. The moment you go in the factory and anything you plan, it's not going to work because there is something new which is going to come and which gives you immense learning in that, where you have thought something, but again, there are surprises in the factory which will help you to learn yourself and nurture your career in a better way. So starting from factory, then I left Calcutta way back in 1999. And then I think as a career, I would say that today when I introduce myself, I always tell that I have not worked in Jammu and Kashmir and beyond Assam, but all other states I have worked in HR. People are people, industries are industries, and there will be some differences, but it gives me immense learning. And during Tractors India Day, after my Calcutta journey, I went for Delhi. I was heading HR for one of the factory in Tractors India in Delhi. And then subsequently, I was heading HR in the factories as well as sales and service HR for Tractors India, for entire North India. And after completing that, then I joined Unilever, Hindustan Unilever Limited. Again, it's a great journey of 7-8 years, which has given me immense learning. Starting again from factory, from supply chain HR, from branch regional HR, to a lot of work on learning and development and employee relations. I think these are the game changer in my life, where every time you enter into a factory or you enter into a job or a role, it gives you a different learning. I think that's again, 7-8 years was an immense learning with good professionals. And Unilever is known for creating leaders. I would say the moment you work for them, then you have to scale up yourself to match with the expectations, with the talent what Unilever had. Then after that, I had a small stint with G4S. Again, it's a multinational security company, but when I joined them, it was the number of employees was there, 150,000 employees, but it was a very short sprint. In India, while it was a global role. But after that, I joined Bosch. Bosch, again, a 7 to 8 years journey. a lot of work on restructuring, a lot of work on talent strategy, a lot of work on a great place to work, building a great place to work, a lot of work on change management initiatives, because Boss in India today is a 100 years old company. But how do you change that, change your perspective? How do you build in your outside perspective into the organization and do change management? Last 1 year, more than 1 year, I'm with Saint-Gobain India Pvt Limited as head of HR, and I head the HR for glass solutions, home and hospitality business, and a couple of other businesses. Again, it's a new journey. How do you develop coaches within the managers? How do you create your leaderships? How Saint-Gobain is into path of high investments and going to acquire a lot of companies, going to invest in India. So a lot of big challenges. And the big challenge here is, as human resource leader, who is going to run the organization in 2030, 2035? Are we creating those talents? So this is my journey overall, Sunny, just to give you in a nutshell.
Okay. So, Mr. Mitra, which are your job roles that you have enjoyed the most, have taken learnings from, or have been honored for?
I would say, let me start with, I think when you talk about job description of a particular position, there I would say, yeah, job descriptions are there, but you have to do something which is beyond job description. I always tell in an industry, there are jobs and there are roles. So I would say that thanks for the pertinent questions. Anybody can do a job, but which makes you a different individual, how that job is performed by doing a particular role when you are doing. So I can give various examples, starting from Tractors India Day, where we had litigations of land, and from there litigations of land with Allahabad High Court and UPSIDC, how do you take that land out from the litigations and then make it free? It may not be a HR job, but it comes under the portfolio of administration and all those things. That's one job I remember. It was very challenging. People have tried for 20 years. They were unable to succeed, but I could able to succeed with all the supports of the management, as well as a lot of support from my team member there. Then coming to Unilever, I think Unilever, every day there was a challenge. There was a lot of settlements, long-term settlements with the unions. Unions in India, yes, they understand, but sometimes you have to tell them spade is a spade, and then they will understand. And they do not have, my experiences, they do not have the business knowledge. I think going forward, how do we create a business knowledge among the union leaders should be forced by anybody. And that is lacking today. I would say that, whenever I have taken up any long-term settlement journey, it's again a new journey. But to remember something, where Unilever had told us to close down a plant, but how do you make that plant not to close down and bring into productive, main force? I'm happy to say that, I'm talking about 2008-9. But that factory is today still running with more diverse workforce. During my time, I had started recruiting women in shop floor. And I think today they have 100 women in shop floor, which is in Calcutta. This is an amazing journey. I feel that, yes, along with the team there, it's a very big turnaround story, and which today also I cherish. All other thing, even I can give examples of Pondicherry factories where we had very negative union, and how do you handle those unions? There has to be a carrot and stick approach, and how do you engage with the people? And that factory is still another productive factory today in Unilever world. So these are the two things which I remember, apart from how do you create your talent in the ecosystem. That is another journey which I remember in Unilever. For all those things, I got Chairman's Award from Unilever in 3 consecutive years. I think in 2010, 11, and 12. So far, I remember during my last portion of years, which I remember. Then come to Bosch. Bosch, again, a lot of journey in transforming the organization. So making the Bosch a great place to work, working closely with GPTW is one of the main work which I have done in my tenure in Bosch. Secondly, set up a factory where with 80% women into the factory, which has happened in Chennai. I'm happy to share that that has happened during my tenure in Bosch. That's number two. Number three, Germany has told about one of the factory which was not producing, at a productive level. The cost of employees was very high. How do you do the change management in that factory and bring that factory into life so that Germany also tells that, okay, that factory is still there. I would say that Germany has decided after our interventions and change management with very tough union, convincing them, making them understand what is business, etc. I think that again, another change initiative which has happened. And I'm happy to share that Bosch had decided to close down a China plant than to the India plant. So when I feel proud that, I could able to save an India plant, Indian employment than to China employment. That is second thing. Third point in Bosch, we had shifted a 5,000 people plant from one location to another location in Bangalore, which is 50 kilometers away. There also a lot of change management initiative has been done, but that also has happened during my time without stopping the production. So without hampering any damage to the customer. I think a great learning, and for that also I was rewarded. A lot of things in Bosch in Nashik also, Nashik factory we have done a lot of change management. There also I have got reward for that. And finally, before I left Bosch, we had started a talent strategy. How do you ensure that your talent remains with the organization? It was a holistic approach. And how do you do that talent strategy effectively so that talents remains within the organization and they see the organization as a future? So that was again another learning. Third piece, last piece is with Saint-Gobain last 1.5 year journey. I think we are driving diversity in a big scale. And from diversity 6% to today, we are at 12% is a great achievement, I would say. That has happened. We had launched a We Care policy for women, which is for the women they need for their biological need 1 day of leave. We had introduced that one additional leave for the women employees in the organization. How do you create diversity, more and more diverse and inclusive workplace? That's the journey which I'm doing. And the last piece is how do you make co-managers as mentors and coach? So that's the journey which we have started. I'm confident that we are going to get fruits of that. And this is one of the topics which is very close to my heart. And I'm confident that, yes, during my 27, 28 years of learning, there are a lot of learning which can be written multiple books with a lot of incidents.
Have you ever got an opportunity to take care of pro-social responsibilities in any of your roles?
My apology, I would say that, since my beginning, I was part of a CSR, part of CSR and CSR in any organization, starting from Practice India Limited. And that's one of the topic which is close to my heart and which I enjoy whenever I go. There are so many things to do, in CSR, I would say. Not only CSR, when I talk about CSR in today's parlance, I'll club it with ESG also. But again, to talk about CSR, yes, since my career started, I used to go to, orphanage homes to celebrate my daughter's birthday. I used to go from an organization, I used to go to promote girl child education during TIL days. During Unilever days, we had worked on bringing hygiene into the villages. And I can share with you one great story that there in Madhya Pradesh, there is a village where children used to die before they achieve 5 years. And it's because of hygiene. But we had promoted Lifebuoy hygiene CSR there. And after that, the mortality rate of the children has gone down there in that village. So that's a great thing to share. During my Bosch days, yes, I was party to, a lot of CSR activities, starting from giving free foods to, the people who are on the streets. From there with Akshay Patra, then creating health centers in the factories locations. Third thing, how do you create I would say the science lab in the schools? How do you create smart classes there? So those things were there in Bosch. And coming to Saint-Gobain, we are doing, I think we are spending huge money there, almost, I think last year we had spent 50 crores for CSR. And I would say a lot of work on girl child education, a lot of work on HIV affected people, how we ensure that their clinical needs are taken care of. How do we ensure that we create a career for them in the organization? Then third thing is we are also creating a pipeline for the talent. We take out people who are dropouts, school dropouts, class 10 and class 12. We give them training. We give them scholarship during the training so that they can, we recruit them from the villages across India. We pay them some stipend to them and some stipend to their families. It directly goes to them. We take care of their stays and foods. And after 3 years, they get appointment in Saint-Gobain. So those things, I would say that I can share multiple such stories, multiple such initiatives which I am part of. I would say definitely it's a thing which is very close to my heart and which I love to do during my personal time as well.
All right, Mr. Mitra. When did you develop environmental leanings?
I think environment today, it's not today. I think we are little late when we talk about environment. Pollution Control Board was there. I would say that if we talk about ESG, instead of ESG, I think we should start with governance first, basically in third world countries. And we started with governance, bringing pollution control boards and air pollution, water pollutions, land pollutions, and all those things, which is norms of industry. I was also taking care, at some portion of my career in the factories where how do you take care of these things along with my EHS colleagues. So learning was from the beginning. But I think the day we are moving towards, I think the seriousness of the topic is coming day by day. Okay. Now, climate and biodiversity, if you look at any report, if I read, biodiversity is the highest threat today in anywhere, in any country you go.
Right.
Today, you see, if I give you an example, in my Calcutta home, I don't see sparrows in Calcutta nowadays. Now, I'm living in Bangalore for past 8 years. The temperature of Bangalore has risen at least 1 or 2 degrees over the past 7-8 years. So I am concerned. So therefore, I had decided that, as HR professionals, since we are clubbed with CSR, there are a lot of avenues to do, a lot of work to do. And if I look at entire ESG, BRSR reporting, I would say that 48-49% belongs to HR. HR can contribute. So there I thought that why not increase my knowledge on climate. And I participate in a lot of ESG seminars to understand what is happening in the ecosystem, what people are doing. And accordingly, I have started building my interest onto it, because that's going to be the future. If we do not do or do not work anything on that space, I think we are not doing justice to our next generation.
What all challenges have you seen in your industry with changes of technology? And what changes do you see ahead with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, etc.?
I would say the job today, whatever we see, job today, going forward, with the involvement of AI, ML, and IoT, and also with the climate coming into picture, the entire job descriptions are going to get changed. Because today, the job, whatever they look like, it's not going to look like next 5 to 6 years down the line. So therefore, what we are doing in my organization in Saint-Gobain, we are relooking at the job description, and we are looking at future at 2027, 2030, and assuming how the jobs will look like. What will customer look for at that point of time? Today's customer doesn't look for a product, they look for a solution. So therefore, how do we ensure that our job descriptions are also aligned, considering AI, ML, data, and also climate, and prepare the job description accordingly, according to that. Point number one. Point number two, the existing employee, what do we do with that? Are we educating themselves, for understanding AI, ML, and IoT in their areas of work? Are we creating digital pioneer or digital ambassador into our functions? Whatever functions could be, it could be manufacturing, it could be sales and marketing, purchase, HR, finance. We need digital talents everywhere. And we need climate ambassador everywhere, every function. So by doing these two things, I would say that first comes training and communication. First thing we have to do, are we doing communication? Are we having understanding? So based on that, I have finally decided that first let me educate first before I start talking to my people in my company. And we have to show the specifics of the business. Now, earlier, I have to give you examples. Earlier, the glasses used to get transported through wooden brackets. Now, today, that wooden brackets we don't use. 95% it goes by naked supply. Now, wood we are not using today. Now, we could able to do that with the help of climate consciousness and also with the help of data. We have looked into data and on what those woods are being used, how it is being procured, all those things, the data is important. Now we are also doing, how do we embed CSR into all management training programs? The climate has to come in all management training programs. Are we recruiting? We are planning to train the recruiters, because tomorrow's talent has to be data savvy. Tomorrow's talent has to be climate conscious. So are we doing that? We are working on that topic also. And looking at changing the business and the leadership team. It's very important to look at, do the leadership team understand the data, AI, ML, and all those things? And governance. How do we do the governance mechanism in a proper way when more data comes into picture? How we are creating simple KPIs? How we are communicating those KPIs so that those KPIs are also making business sense and also making sense to the employees. So therefore, deeper understanding is required of data, of climate. Deeper understanding and collaboration is required between HR and CSR. That's number two. Number three is train employees, manage your skill gap. Very important in terms of climate, in terms of data. And future employer branding also has to happen in terms of ESG, in terms of data, because future talent is not going to come to you unless you are strong at it or you are telling what you are going to do. When you are becoming your net zero carbon, you have to declare that and what actions you are taking. And all these things has to happen through modernization. That means digitalization in everywhere, AI in HR, AI in every function, how we are bringing Industry 4.0 into our way of working. All these things are going to play our major functions. And in that, I would say HR is no more a support function, but a leading functions in driving all these changes in the organizations.
Since you are now a corporate governance expert, what values do you aim to inculcate from your existing into your new role?
I would say that in the corporate governance, see, first of all, what data you are supplying, you are providing in terms of manpower, in terms of your carbon, in terms of your anything and everything, usage of raw material, the data has to be authentic. Number one. Number two, then only comes your ethical way of business. So Saint-Gobain is doing a business globally for the over 356 years. In India, we are 26 years, 27 years. So therefore, ethical standards comes first. And how do we ensure that data we are providing with proper ethics and values to that? Point number one. Point number two, when corporate governance comes, whenever any business discussion happens or a new business avenues comes, we have to evaluate those business. At least I'm going to raise the question in the boardroom that is that business is coming through the corporate governance lens. We have to do that corporate governance lens into that. Number three, are we damaging Mother Earth in doing that business? How you are going to procure your raw material? So we have to look at that in the corporate governance balance, because today it may be possible, but if I look at United Nations global whatever 17 conditions they have given, so are we following that? So I would say that it as a corporate governance I would say professional, and still I'm learning, I feel. I think my lens will be continuously looking at those ESG parameters. Are we following that in doing any business? Number two, when you are investing in any business or acquiring in any business, are we following those criteria in doing those business? I have every right to question those things. I think that's important. How do you question those? And so that decisions becomes important, and decision comes with more wisdom, with more knowledge which I have acquired. And as a leader in an organization, I have a responsibility. I have personal credibility. I have credibility of the organization and its brand name. So therefore, I will be looking at things which are, through the lens of corporate governance now, and anything and everything which is being shared with the public or with anybody, we will see that whether the data is right, whether the corporate governance is there into business strategy, in the decision making, and how the leaders are also supporting each other as a change management initiative, which I have to do, that through the corporate governance lens, leaders are also challenging each other to make the decisions more and more. I would say that in Saint-Gobain, we always talk about TEC, trust, empowerment, and collaboration. So therefore, I would say always that challenge each other, bring TEC in the processes, and look at corporate governance for the future, to create the future of the organization.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Mitra, we are building the global thought leaders community for cross-pollination of knowledge and a community of independent directors for having a better corporate governance in the country. What are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by WDCT?
I think it's a great initiative because I have seen the data. I'm a person who always go by the data and in making a decision. And if I look at, there is a need of independent directors to be there. That's number one. So I don't know how many such bodies are there who are, working on this space and educating people, educating the professionals with, more experience to be certified as independent director. I think I would say that this is a great job which your organization is doing, and I'm very happy to be part of that. And I would say the learning module is phenomenal. I have gone through its very details. I've gone through that, and the methodology is also good. Quizzes are very good, and it gives you more and more confidence that when you sit as an independent director in any of the organization, I think you have acquired the sufficient knowledge to challenge any decisions, to clarify any decisions, which has empowered me. So I would say Thanks to your organization for taking this up.
Great. Great. That was fantastic conversing with you. And I'm confident that your insights will inspire the future leaders. Thank you, Mr. Suman Mitra, for joining us today. We wish you the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Moreover, trust that these initiatives by Directors Institute unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds.